Hello, welcome back to Let's Play the Journeyman Project 2, Buried in Time. Today we will be going on to a new time zone, Château Gaillard. What is that? Okay, so that's April 6, 1204 AD. Please read the mission briefing for Château Gaillard before initiating jump sequence. Briefing, Château Gaillard. Throughout his reign as King of England, Richard I battled with Philip Augustus to maintain Angevin rule over territories in northern France. To oversee and defend many of these territories, Richard the Lionheart quickly erected Château Gaillard in the Les Andelys mountains of Normandy. For years, Philip sought to restore the state of his empire. After Richard's death, he got his chance. Having been financially crippled by Richard's exploits, England could do little to hold them off. Territory after territory was retaken by Philip, though it was thought to be impregnable. Château Gaillard capitulated to the French on the 6th of March, 1204, after a brief 6-month siege. A failed relief effort by King John is thought to have played a role in the fall of the castle. However, exactly why it succumbed so quickly is still a matter of some controversy. Gaillard traveled to Château Gaillard to witness the final day of the siege and to document how Philip's troops gained entry into the castle. Warning, there will be a human presence in this environment. Gather footage from a safe distance and avoid being seen. Your destination coordinates have been scanned and cleared. So what was the date on this? Oh, they have this date is incorrect. It's supposed to be 3-6, not 4-6. Because here they say it capitulated the 6th of March. And this is the 6th of April, so technically we should be a month late. But we'll give them a pass on that. In any event, let's jump to it. Just as described in Agent 5's mission report. Jumped right behind him, and he was getting ready to kill us. And we were lucky that the arrow killed him instead, right away. Oh, you can actually hear swords clanging in the background, or at least some kind of weapon. I've never heard that before. But then again, I've never had an audio system this good before. It's very quiet, very faint. I don't even know if it'll show up on YouTube, especially with me talking over it, but, and there's a siege tower.
That big wooden thing over there is a siege tower. Philip Augustus terrorized the defenders by surrounding the castle with 14 of these. They're pretty handy for being able to shoot over the wall of a castle, but they did have one minor drawback. Can you say flammable?
Yeah, although you'd think they could at least use maybe thin sheets of iron to kind of protect it without adding a ton of weight, but I don't know, maybe they didn't have that sort of technology. So here you can see we got a good view of the tower that we're on here. And there's the flag waving in the background. So Arthur's got something to say about this centerpiece too.
The wooden roofs were covered with tin, I think to prevent being set ablaze by flaming arrows.
Good call, because fire is generally bad for everything. So here we have the man who died. He's now 2D in death, but we can actually take the arrow from him. Bloody arrow. Excuse me. Object analysis, bloody arrow. This is a simple arrow with a wrought iron tip. And I'm kind of curious, because I'm not seeing it here. Obviously it says bloody arrow, but I don't see blood on it in the model viewer here. Maybe when I blow this up to 4K, it'll be more apparent, but I wonder if they just skipped out on that to maintain like a T... I would think this has a T reading because you see someone die in front of your eyes, but then again, back in the... up until like the mid to late 90s, rating systems in games were kind of like the Wild West. There were like a bunch of different rating organizations that all had their own different standards. It was a pretty lucky shot, too. As you can see, there's not a lot of access for an arrow to get through. So we shouldn't have to worry too much about being shot here.
If someone should get a glimpse of us up here, in this suit we might pass as a knight, but I think we should be careful not to be seen.
I agree, Arthur. Here we can see there's the moat surrounding the castle, and you can see the siege weapons and encampments down below. Did I? I don't think I could look at that far out, could I? Yeah. Look down, you can't see anything. Sorry, I want to go through everything because this is my childhood. And it's just a really good game too. I want to appreciate how good it is by looking at every view because someone had to work on every view, you know. As we can see another tower there, we can see a bit of the town below from here. I think, yeah, we're actually gonna go on that wall later. Flag. And there we have a pile of boulders.
Those boulders were dropped on any Nimrod trying to climb the walls.
Which actually should be a help message, but it's not. Yeah, I can't really get much more view from here, so we will go down these stairs.
It's kind of interesting how they use the more finished stone on the outside of the walls to make the castle look more imposing, and use the rough stone on the inside. The space in between was generally filled with rubble and, I don't know, annoying singing frogs and metal boxes.
Low frame rate fire and lighting effects. But, oh, that's actually... Oops, I actually didn't want to go in here just yet. Because we can go down some more. This... Warning, human presence detected 10 meters ahead. And there's a door here, which we can't use.
Sounds locked to me.
I believe you get this help and comment on the first door that you find that basically makes that noise. I believe that can trigger in DaVinci Studio or in Chateau Gaillard. I'd have to go back and test, but I'm pretty sure I got it to trigger in Chateau Gaillard before. I know for a fact you can get it to trigger on the door. I shouldn't say for a fact, but I'm like 80% sure you could get that to trigger on the door above us. So you can see this is like a 4-story tower, because this is actually going to be the ground floor here. Is it? Yeah. Hey, dude. Well, we don't want to anger him. And if you do stare at him too long, he will attack you and kill you. Which, actually, I normally don't do... Oh, no. I don't normally do... Like, I said I wasn't going to do deaths, but I do want to show off a feature here that's pretty interesting in my opinion. Remember the Samco ads on how it could translate any known written or verbal language? Well, it has use outside of solving puzzles.
Keep, Norman traitor! You shall not flee now!
Oh no, a mace. Actually, that was a pretty fine looking mace. So, Agent 5's presence in the perimeter stairwell of Château Gaillard was detected by a castle guard. The sentry, who mistook Agent 5 for a French knight, just like Arthur thought, pummeled him until death. Next can have been notified. Score. But the important thing I want to show off is remember what he says there. It's obviously in ye old English. But let's go back. And this time, activate our Samco Translator Biochip. And now let's stare at him some.
Halt, Norman traitor! You won't get away now.
Notice how his dialogue changed. That is because the translator biochip is translating his dialogue from ye old English to modern English, which I think it's a really cool detail that it can do that. Not just for there is a puzzle later where you do use it for an auditory translation, but the fact that it works on all the guards in Chateau Gaillard, um, even though like none of them are involved in a puzzle or anything, and they're just deaths. So I think that's really cool, honestly. So now let's go back and stop dying. And we'll keep going back up the walls. As we've seen just about everything there is to see down here. Let's see, was this the landing? Yes, it was. And this is the door I was talking about where if you, yep, see how that help message lit up? It's the same help message from the stairs below. However, if you were to use it on the stairs below, I don't think it would show up for this. This sound is basically the game's universal sound for door does not open, nothing beyond it has been rendered or modeled. Don't try to go this way, there are no puzzles this way, there is nothing this way.
These wooden hoardings here, they were put up for defense before a siege to protect archers, and get this, allow the soldiers to drop big, heavy, painful things on the attackers below. Charming, isn't it?
That's war for you.
This castle really was the jewel in King Richard's crown. He once wrote about Chateau Gaillard. How beautiful is my year-old daughter. When Philip Augustus had said that he would take this castle though its walls were made of iron, King Richard retorted that he would hold it if its walls were made of butter. Then King John the Soft Sword took over. When Philip was done with this place, you could pour it on your popcorn. When Philip Augustus heard about Richard's death in 1199, he set about retaking Normandy. And within 3 years, in October of 1203, he was knocking on Chateau Gaillard's door with a formidable army. John answered the door with 300 knights, 3,000 horsemen, and 4,000 foot soldiers and assorted ruffians, who tried to surprise Philip's army with a night attack. Big mistake. He wasn't counting on the new cohesion and confidence of Philip's army in the light of Richard's death. They were slaughtered.
So anything of historical value here is probably going to be located in the keep, which we can see is over there. Look down a little. Ooh, Arthur has a comment.
These holes in the walls, or they called them arrow loops, were designed to protect archers while still giving them a wide angle of aim.
I think you can actually get that message from multiple arrow loops, much like how you can get that message for multiple doors, the don't go this way. And we see, I think this is supposed to be, like, that looks like a religious icon to me at least. And so, yeah, oops, damn it, I didn't mean to hit that. This is why I prefer to use numpad, but you can see there's a cross on it, so I think this is supposed to be a church.
These wooden walkways were generally the only way to get around a tower. If a portion of the wall was overrun, they could just remove the walkways and the enemy wouldn't be able to get any further.
Yeah, or what they probably do is set them on fire, since you might not be able to remove them quickly enough properly in battle. God, this is such a beautiful environment. And I love looking at it, and I wish I could explore more of it, because everything is just so well done in this game.
Ah, see that bridge to the inner bailey? This was the castle's one weakness. Under cover of the bridge, Philip Augustus's men managed to dig under the wall and collapse a section of it in what they called let me look it up, a sapping operation. When an attacker would sap a wall of a castle, they would dig a tunnel underneath the foundation supported by a wooden framework. They would then set fire to the wooden beams, and the tunnel would collapse under the wall, bringing it down.
Sappers is actually a term still used today, although nowadays I think it more broadly means just any sort of, like, generally any sort of combat engineering performed to defeat the fortifications of an enemy, and not specifically, tunneling under a tower to bring it down like that. Here we can see the encampments on the field there. And those catapults are really working overtime. A toilet!
So a clever French knight figures out that he and a few men can get into the castle by climbing up through a toilet. So right now they must be fighting it out at the main gate. By now there will only be about 60 English soldiers remaining anyway. No wonder this place seems deserted.
And interestingly enough, I just noticed this, but the date is March 6, 1204. So our date here reads correct. It's just our jump screen. It doesn't read correct. And we have a fine, sturdy grappling hook here. Name, grappling hook. Description, this durable grappling hook is attached to a 15-meter length of rope. Alright. Got some more hoardings there. And this is actually all we really need. However, we can still walk a little bit further. I believe this arrow loop also gets that same comment we heard earlier. And we can't go any further because we can't step around the barrel, apparently. But that's okay because, as you can see, there's someone there. Now, this is the wall we spotted earlier from the tower, because that's the building there that we could kind of catch a glimpse of. And this is the kind of the area where the hoardings were broken down a little bit. So I like how that's all interconnected. We can see the battlements a little bit more in the camps down there. But also, if you didn't catch what Arthur did there, he basically explained why we're able to walk around so freely. It's because there's so few people here. Amongst this whole castle, there's only 60 defenders, and of them, a lot of them are going to be engaged against the French knights that infiltrated the castle with the grappling hook. Another view of the church.
I hope the serfs have umbrellas. Ah, the classic garderobe. Simplicity at its finest.
Unfortunately, we cannot use the grappling hook to go back down. Another beautiful view.
You want to know what made this castle such a unique piece of military architecture? King Richard's design for the keep and inner bailey. Look, see those rib-like structures ringing the top of the keep? They were designed to funnel drop projectiles down to the skirt-like plinth at the bottom, which bounced the stones in kind of a fan-shaped trajectory. This way, there was nowhere that the attackers could approach the castle without being vulnerable.
You can see more of the battlements down below. And Arthur's going to have something to say here.
You tiny-brained wipers of other people's bottoms, I fart in your general direction. Your mother was a hamster, and your father smelled of elderberries.
Sorry, I always wanted to say that.
Yes, that is a Monty Python reference, except it's kind of the reverse. With the French besieging the English instead of vice versa.
So this is what a real siege looks like. Not a lot like what you see on the holoflicks. Not a lot of action. Most of it was just bringing an army, surrounding a castle to prevent defenders from getting supplies, and then waiting around until they either starved or surrendered. In the meantime, they built towers and assault engines, readying for when the defenders were softened up enough to attack. Anyone for bloodshed?
Here we can see more of the battlements. Very beautiful view, just all around. But that's about all there is to see there, unfortunately. So moving.
We seem to be getting closer to where that catapult is hitting, and I'd be willing to bet their aim isn't getting worse.
That's their attempt to warn you about a really silly death. Also, I like how the French apparently didn't see us or didn't care about us since no one tried to kill us while we were walking that gap. Now, this is technically a way you can go down. However, you will die. It's kind of a stupid death in that, like, you have no clue. Like, there's no warning other than the help message if you take the help message. But if you're playing this and you're refusing to take the help messages, there's nothing to indicate that this would be lethal. But you'll see why it's lethal once we get down to it. Here we can see more the area that they have a little town. God, if there's one thing the series does right, it's the visuals and the research and pretty much everything.
Missed me by that much.
I remember that taking a lot longer as a kid, but basically on adventure mode, if you were to walk immediately forward there, you would get hit by the catapult boulder and die. And again, there's kind of no warning exactly. Like, Arthur tries to warn you with that comment, because they must have found it during playtesting that people complained about this. But, like, it doesn't give you a good idea of where, and in a way, it almost makes it sound like you should be moving faster, not slower. In walkthrough mode, this animation will play automatically as soon as you turn to face it, and it will not allow you to walk into it until the animation has finished. So that's how they avoid that death in walkthrough mode. Oh, we can walk forward, and we can see... we can't quite see it, because it's at a 45-degree angle. We can only see in 90-degree angles. But, hey there, how's it going? Fortunately, no one really sees us, so... Now, this is a point of no return. If you did not get this grappling hook the first time around, and you cross this point of no return, you'll be making a time jump back. Now we can look around and see all the different things there are to see, which isn't a ton. Obviously, we're trying to stay a little incognito here.
Buildings in this time were built of a half-timber framework with gaps filled with wattle and daub. God, I hate English food. Anyway, basically a mat of woven reeds covered with mud and clay.
Always love the history lessons from Arthur here. So, we got one building we can actually walk into right away. Blacksmith shop. Although he's a very small blacksmith, we have a hammer here we can take, which we'll need later. Object analysis, hammer. This solid iron hammer is worn from years of use. Alright, so we can walk... Oh, one thing is, notice how one of those bricks seems a little different than the others.
Yes, the incredible sharpening wheel! The latest in lightweight stone technology. It spins, it sparks, it sharpens your knives! It's absolutely free with your 6-piece set of Ginsu broadswords.
Man, this place is actually a bit lighter than I remember it being. And there's the Black Knight. He wanders around and you'll see him, but he won't kill you or do anything. He's just there to frighten you, really. Alright. Only way is forward, so we'll do that.
Hey, now there's a nasty-looking rig. The blacksmith would use something like that to hold cows and horses still for shoeing. No doubt some of them enjoyed it, too. I mean, still, there's nothing more disturbing than a cow into bondage.
Alright, and we can see that... I wonder if that's supposed to be a window or if there's damage to the shop. I think it's damage, because that looks like stone wall there. So the blacksmith shop has been hit. Well, we can see some links and stuff that he's been working on. Floor is littered with debris, so we won't be going that way. I think that's why this kind of looks like a mess, but it's also lit up more than it would be ordinarily. And Arthur's got another comment for us.
This is an old wood-burning forge, which blacksmiths at the time used to heat up and soften raw iron, which they would then hammer to create rod or forged tools and weapons. This fire can only get up to about 1300 degrees Celsius. Stop me, I'm getting too technical. So they would be limited to casting softer metals such as bronze, copper, or gold.
Bronze, copper, and gold. Those are the three metals that he mentions.
Pumping the bellows does air through the coals, stoking the fire. Try it, you weakling.
So basically he's saying you can use this to heat it up. Now, remember that brick that looked out of place? Doesn't it look even more out of place? Which, even if you didn't see it, if you're just following the adventure game logic of holding your mouse over everything to see when the cursor changes, you're gonna find this.
Well, it's obviously a Moldrick key. But why would he have hidden it under a brick?
So, we're gonna need this key later, so we're gonna need to use the mold, which means melting down metal to fit in it. Now, you can't use the metal bar, It doesn't say what metal, but considering it was on a space station, I would assume it's at least steel or some space-age metal. We can't use the hammer because it's solid. Alright, woo! Whee! I love painting in this game. The grappling hook, I believe, is also iron. It doesn't say, but presumably it'd be iron. That's not metal. The arrow is, yes, wrought iron tip, so, and honestly, I don't think there'd be enough there anyways. So that leaves only one option. This is why we made that side trip to, almost said Elstega. Oh, this is why we made that side trip to Chichen Itza. Just to grab this. Because this is, there actually is one other object in this game that I'm aware of at least, that technically meets Arthur's criteria of gold, copper, or bronze, I think he said. However, that is an item we will see at the end of this time zone. And I think I've tried going back and trying to forge a key with it, which didn't work, but that might also... I never did try with another copper medallion either, so I don't know if it doesn't do it just because you have the key already, or if it's because it wasn't specifically coded to work it. But in theory, they could work. In any event, let's throw in the iron. But it's not hot enough to melt it yet, so we gotta stoke the bellows, stoke the fire. And there you can see we're finally melting it. And now we can pour it in the mold. What would have been a really cool puzzle is if you had to use the water canister and use the water from that to kind of cool the metal so you could grab it, but no, it just cools automatically. So now we have a copper key. Object analysis, copper key. This key was created from a mold found in the smithy of Château Gaillard. So we'll cover up that mold. No one needs to know that we've been crafting keys. And we will head out, because there's not much more to see in here. Alright. Now this is a choreographed fight that you can observe. It has 3 stages. That was the first stage. That was the second stage. Maybe it's just 2 stages. Okay. I guess it's just the 2 stages, but as you can see, it loops after the second stage. I wonder. Alright, I didn't think so because it's mostly grunts, but I did that just in case there was like they were saying something that was just a little too quiet to hear, because the audio balancing is, god damn it, is terrible in this game. Fight never resolves, it just loops infinitely. And there's my penchant for looking everywhere, getting me in trouble. And here we can see the Black Knight again moving back the other way. I believe if you go in the blacksmith shop again, you will not see him again, nor will you see him again here. He's just making a one-time loop. Oh, you can see there was a pulley here for something. Presumably lifting something. This area is a little small, unfortunately. I remember as a kid, I'm like, oh, I could fit between there, I can get in there. But, you know, obviously you can't because... Well, 1, you actually might not be able to because of the suit. But 2, there's nothing that way. Temporal anachronism detected within immediate vicinity. Use evidence chip.
Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair.
And we can see there's actually a window that has not been boarded up. I think this one is supposed to be boarded up, but that one is not. Keep that in mind. In the meantime,
That's either a very dirty moat or a very clean sewer.
I like how they got the lilies on it. But yeah, it's pretty opaque. So we will... I know there's a... Hey guys, how's it going? Got the people up there. And there is a little piece of evidence here. Obviously, it's not strong enough for the suit to auto-detect, but we can manually locate it. And if you're eagle-eyed, you'll see this here. 3353. Obviously a serial number. ET5 archival monitor. 3353 Château Gaillard. Oh, the date's wrong here though. Anyways, footprint inappropriate for this era. Since we're not in immediate danger. Hey, more people. Since we're not in immediate danger, we can access our files biochip. Actually, let me go back to it was 3353, right? 33 leading 3353. Nope. 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 Could be Agent 3. Or Agent 6. So we've basically narrowed down to 2 suspects. I forget who ran the security scan. I don't think it was Agent 6, though. I'd have to go back and look at the news articles. But those are... We've now narrowed down our list of suspects from what? From 9 to 2, so we're making pretty good progress as to who else has been here. Also, if you go into your jumpsuit overview, I believe it will say... Oh, it doesn't say explicitly, but it is waterproof. So, we can actually traverse this moat by just walking through it. And this is where we'll save, because there is a couple of things here I want to go through. So first off, I need my interface file chip. Now, first, what we'll do is... Arthur, I have a comment? No. Alright, we should be good on that, then. So let's use our grappling hook. There it is.
Hello! Joseph! Shaka, fool! 'Tis all for naught! He shall not claim this tour!
Remember that pile of boulders in the beginning? That's what Arthur was referring to. And if you don't move for long enough... Okay, it's taking a little longer. There we go. You get another Monty Python reference. Having taken too long to begin his ascent to the keep, Agent 5 found himself an unwilling participant in a reenactment of a silly Monty Python skit. Silly and fatal. The rest of the kin have been notified. So all these updates... Okay, they got the right date here at least. So you can see now we have one piece of supporting evidence, and we've solved a few additional puzzles, and I think we upped our... Yeah, we got one more research bonus, which should be from... Actually, I don't know what it would be from here. I guess from finding the grappling hook, maybe? But Or maybe it's just reading the time zone briefing. In any event, let's go back now. So now, this time, we're going to go up with the Samco translator biochip activated.
Hello, Joseph! Shaka, fool! 'Tis all for naught! It shall not claim this tour!
I'll probably cut this into 2 chunks because there's actually, I don't think that translated right. But anyways, there's basically this phase, and then there's 2 different things that can happen inside. You'll see what I'm talking about. So I'm gonna only run this segment probably once, and then probably have like 4 times for the next segment, just because there's 2 different ways this can go, and you can use the Samco translator biochip, which gives 4 different possible dialogues. Huh. Normally Arthur urges you to cloak, but
You will not escape us, deceitful traitor!
Agent 5 was detected by alert soldiers while trying to infiltrate the keep of Château Gaillard. In the confusion of the moment, he forgot to use his jumpsuit's built-in defense and was quickly dispatched by the castle's sword-wielding defenders. So that's with the translated dialogue. Now let's see the alternate dialogue, or the original dialogue. You know, now that I'm thinking about it, you might be locked into using the cloak biochip, so there might not be alternate dialogue for the other scenario, but we'll get to that bridge in a moment.
Ye shall not escape us, false traitor!
So what you're probably noticing at this point is that the ye olde English, if you listen closely, you can basically decipher what they're saying. You don't need the translator biochip, but it does obviously make things cleaner, clearer, and easier. Now, so what we'll do is we'll bring up Arthur for this one. And let's bring up the grappling hook.
Hello, Joseph! Shaka, fool! 'Tis all for naught! It shall not claim this tour!
Let's ascend again.
Quick! He's in the king's chamber!
Let's cloak. Yeah, it locks you in. Okay, so no alternate dialogue here, unfortunately.
Alas! He escaped us! He must not wretched the goddess!
Alright, now that those clowns are out of the way, we can get about to looking at this room. This is another point of no return, by the way. You cannot go down there and like use the grappling hook to descend.
Those seats built in the window were usually the only furniture in a tower. Furniture was rare, or reserved for the aristocracy, like our king here. In fact, if you did have furniture, it was generally a flat chest that doubled as a bench.
This is the seats he's talking about. But yeah, you can go up here. But you can't look down. You can only look left or right. So here we got, you can see a fair bit of artwork in here, and a very, for medieval times at least, a very luxurious bed.
Tapestries were used a lot as wall coverings to warm up rooms. The illustrations usually depicted historical moments such as great battles or biblical scenes.
So now we are at the foot of the bed, and you can see he's got another painting there.
Oh, I can't believe this. I don't know how many times I told the movers the bedspread should be done in taupe.
They even have what look like proper pillows. Hey, nice chest.
Hey, nice chest.
Hey. And, well, that's probably not the sound that would make that to signify to you that, no, there's nothing in there, you can't get in there, don't try, look elsewhere.
What lovely candelabras. I wish my brother George was here.
And we can see he's got, like, a cow skin for a rug there.
You gotta tell him. You gotta tell him. Soylent Gruel is made out of people.
It's actually a rather intricate and ornate table, particularly for this time period. Yes, that was a Soylent Green reference.
Well, that is actually a pretty nice depiction of a castle under siege. Guess another good example of life imitating art, wouldn't you say? Except for the 20-foot knights, of course.
And you'll note even the chairs look pretty kind of realistic, because I assume this is basically like a wooden frame with like a tanned hide as like the backing for the seat, and then presumably probably something similar for the seat cushion. So, you know, it seems plausible enough. Was I going to... Oh, because this is the window we came from, I believe. Yeah, because there's that hill there. This one, we just see more of the castle. Again, they purposefully do not let you look down or anything, so that way you don't get any ideas about jumping out the window onto the castle walls. Alright. You can see they got kind of the same seating arrangement there. Now, what we actually want to do, first off, we can put ourselves right in front of this wardrobe here. And if it's not really noticeable, maybe if you're super eagle-eyed, you'll see it. You'll normally find this, though, by hunting for... Really, the whole thing? Oh, okay. Yeah, apparently if you click anywhere, you'll find that. And here we can find a place, a hidden compartment with a key. And that looks kind of familiar, doesn't it? We go up to our copper key here. We can see it's the same design. So this is a key that we need. Look around. You can see they actually have wood here instead of stone, like in the tower. Now that visual effect, I suspect, was added to try to draw attention to this painting. Although, if you're looking everywhere you possibly can, like I did when I was a kid with ADHD and looking for the cursor to change, you'll notice you can actually interact with this painting. To save us time later, we're going to interact with it now. Here we can see some close-ups of the chairs. Looks like they've had like a little barrel of wine or beer or something. Nice fire. And now we can proceed. Now that we've kind of looked everything over thoroughly, we can proceed to the castle. To the inside of the keep, rather. Now you can go up where those two guards came from. You can look. It's basically kind of constructed similarly to the tower we first started on. However, you can't go up there. It was neither modeled nor rendered. Don't try. I'm a little sad they hid that joke behind the help comment, but... And this was the king's chamber. So now, let's go down to the second story, since these seem to be about 4 stories tall. So if we go here... we have a throne room of sorts.
This must be the study. When the king stayed here, it would be his throne room. In his absence, it would be used for receiving visitors, and right now I would guess planning the defense of the castle.
So don't mix up this door and this door. Sometimes you can get lost in here. You don't want to do that, trust me. You'll see why later, because again, oh, it is so ornately beautiful. And they got a seal there of someone. But you'll see why later, because like I said, I wasn't planning on showing most of the deaths for this game, but because of the alternate dialogue and the fact that I haven't seen many Let's Plays actually show that off, which is why I'm putting it here for posterity's sake. We can look around the room. We can actually get up to this table, and you'll notice they actually have how. So if you didn't wait too long to ascend, this is your clue that that Easter egg was hidden there.
That looks like a defense plan for the keep. These guys need help. Badly.
This says attacker. I presume this also says attacker. The translate biochip doesn't actually work on here. I can't quite make out what that says. This is a King's Chamber or something, maybe? King's Study, I think. And this is... I literally cannot read it right now in 640 by 480. Maybe when I blow it up, maybe, and with some sharpening. But you'll notice there's a couple of unlabeled rooms here. This one's not labeled because it's been either modeled or rendered, and the game doesn't care about it. This one, though, actually connects, because we can go from here to here to here. This implies we can go here. Also, these plans aren't too complicated. They're just throwing stuff on the attackers. I think that says defenders up there. So, oh, actually, I wanted to... Here we can see they have more other paper. It's a little hard to make that one out. But record it for posterity. Posterity. You can't go all the way there, but there's a little slit there. We can actually go to this window, and we can actually look up and down, but we can't go out it just like all the others. And they got the window benches here too. Oh, you can see I think there's like a mural or something on the floor, but it's obfuscated by the table and our limited view angles. Here we got another picture. We can actually go forward so we can see. Okay, so this is a map of the battlements. So Château Gaillard here. I can't quite make out what these say. Maybe this is Outer Bailey, an Inner Bailey, and then I can't quite read that either. I think it's Avignon, something Avignon Forges? Obviously this is a nearby city, and I presume this is like the river or something that was built on. But very intricately and detailed maps, which is why I like to look at them.
The seal of King John. He always begrudged his brother the throne and the popularity of his rule. Of course, he would be quick to make it clear to his subjects that times had changed. It seems so strange, seeing things that actually happened.
Alright, and there's actually a reason you can go by this fireplace. Oh, did Arthur... Oh, I thought I saw his comment light up. But there's a burned letter here. It won't actually burn. You can take as long as you want to grab it. It doesn't change it at all. Object analysis, burned letter. Part of this letter remains unburned. To read it, click on its icon in the inventory controls area. And we can do just that. It's written in ye old English, so we're going to... Oh, I think I have to... There we go. You gotta have the translator biochip activated before you open it, because for some reason it won't let you switch. But here it'll give you the translation. So 27th of February, 1204. I am grieved to have learned that my relief plan did not succeed. Philip's troops have proven to be more formidable than I had anticipated. Nevertheless, it is imperative that you do everything in your power to hold Château Gaillard, as I am already in the process of organizing another assault to dislodge the invaders. Due to the improvidence of my late brother Richard, it could take some time to locate the necessary resources, but rest assured, Constable, relief shall come soon. In the event that the castle should fall before relief arrives, I ask that you put everything of value in the hidden storage room which lies... secret panel, doors of the besieged castle... burn this letter. So, the doors of the besieged castle is actually a hint to that painting that we found. And I'm going to make another save here, because there's one last interaction you can have with the guards here. Hello!
Hello? I must be wood. Alas, he had no weapon. Pity.
Despite warnings, Agent 5 ventured into an occupied area of Château Gaillard, where he encountered a battle-hardened soldier trained to kill first and ask questions later. The soldier performed his duty admirably. So now, if we go back...
Whoa! I must be insane. Oh, you have no weapon. Too bad.
Oh god, I love that alternate dialogue. But yeah, and also, if you react quickly enough, you can actually just turn away and he'll just think he's insane, I guess. So there's one more thing we have to do while we're here. Which is up here. I guess this is supposed to be the throne room, or in this case, this is like the constable's throne in absence of the king. Private Diary of Roger de Goddamn. Activate the Samco Translator biochip. Sorry, Private Journal of Roger de Laspy, 1196 to 1202. 17th of... There wasn't, there wasn't any page down. 17th of May, 1196. I arrived today at the glorious Château Gaillard, the care of which has been entrusted to me by my Lord King Richard while he is away on the Crusades. Nor shall I consider this no small honor, as my lord regards this saucy castle as his daughter and only child. Although, admittedly, I don't know whether to call myself constable or nanny. This magnificent castle sits high atop a ridge of the Les Andelys Mountains, looking down defensively over Normandy's Seine River Valley. Here it stands before God and all, a constant, haunting reminder to Philip Augustus of his losses to our most valiant Coeur de Lion. And though the castle's hastily built walls are made of butter, I do not believe that Philip will strike at the taunt. He knows better than to try to take King Richard's most cherished possession. Nevertheless, I shall carry out my duty with all due ceremony. 7th of April, 1199. I learned today of the passing of a great warrior. The Lionheart beats no more. Long live the king, he shall be greatly missed. However, being so sudden and unforeseen, King Richard's death has left England without a king and Château Gaillard in a precarious position. Should Philip Augustus learn of King Richard's demise, and I don't doubt he shall, he won't waste time in attempting to retake these lands lost to my lord, beginning with the saucy castle. To tell the truth, he has been waiting some time for this opportunity, until a new king is chosen, whether it be Richard's brother John or his young nephew Arthur. I can only act according to my best judgment. Now, as always, preparedness is a soldier's best defense. Thus, I have fortified the Seine and built a palisade around the island fort. I have even had a lock made for the entrance to the hidden storage chamber, the key for which I hid in a secret compartment of the armoire in the king's bedchamber. Well, that was the compartment we found earlier. 1st of June, 1200. Sadly, our situation at Château Gaillard has not improved since King John assumed the throne. The terms of the Treaty of La Goulet are an insult to the English people and to the memory of King Richard the Lionheart. In addition to 20,000 marks for leave, our noble king also has returned the Vexin to Philip Augustus. It makes no sense. If relief was paid because Philip to Philip because the Normans held the advantage is only that much greater now. How could he, who once fought at his brother's side, give back so easily the spoils of their efforts? Spoils for which English blood was spilled. It is not my position to question the king's actions, but anger consumes me. John has indeed earned the nickname Soft Sword. And yet, miraculously, Château Gaillard remains under Angevin rule. Perhaps John could not bear the thought of giving away King Richard's only progeny. However, with Richard gone and 20,000 marks of English currency to finance his troops, Philip shall surely try to change that. God knows he has never been one to honor a treaty. 16th of April, 1202. It took longer than I thought, but Philip's obsession has finally become more than he can bear. The traitor's feigned support of the Lusignians has given him the excuse he was looking for to declare war upon the royal house of England, and so he has begun his quest to restore the Norman Empire and his name. That is the ending of this journal. We have another one here, though. 22nd of May, 1203. The war is not going well. Philip's troops have taken Gurney and Conches and have set up camp on the Bernierius Peninsula. With such victories under his belt, it shall not be long before he gathers the confidence to attack Château Gaillard. To be honest, King John is less of a strategist than ever Richard was, and I fear that he shall not be able to halt Philip's advancement. It saddens me to see territory won by the Lionheart in fierce, bloody battle lost so quickly at the hands of a weaker man. 11th of August, 1203. I was awakened this balmy August morning by the sound of clashing armor and men screaming. The inevitable has come to pass. Philip Augustus's troops have attacked the garrisons along the Seine. He has already gained much ground, so sudden and fierce was the assault. As our defenses were weakened in the onslaught, it is likely that the island fort shall fall before relief arrives. If so, Philip will lay in for the siege. Fortunately, our supplies are ample, and we can hold out for many months without relief if necessary. I sent a letter to King John to inform him of the situation. 27th of October, 1203. A heroic show of force was mounted by the king's forces this morning. 300 knights, 3,000 horsemen, and 4,000 foot soldiers under the Earl of Pembroke converged on the entrenched Normans who defended their positions tenaciously. At one point, the besiegers appeared ready to flee under the drive of the assaulting forces, but alas, it was not enough. Philip's men held their ground, and Pembroke's men were forced to retreat. If 7,000 soldiers can't force the Normans from the trenches, the best we can hope to do is hold them at bay. 12th of January, 1204. One of my advisors just told me that he has discovered the perpetrator behind several robberies at the castle. He said that his investigation required him to speak with the blacksmith who was not himself available, but the smith's apprentice was available. The apprentice led on that when a smith is hired to make a lock and key, he often keeps the mold used to cast the key. It was then that my advisor realized he had stumbled upon the perpetrator. He immediately searched the premises, whereupon he discovered the ill-gotten goods and several key molds. I am distressed that in this time, when our very survival depends upon the cooperative efforts of every member of the group, this greedy opportunist is thinking only of himself. It pains me that I will not be able to make an example of him, but it would only worsen the already waning morale and leave us in the middle of a siege without a blacksmith. Instead, I have chosen to give the smith a stern warning for now. His real punishment shall have to wait. 15th of February, 1204. The castle food supplies are getting desperately low. All our hopes lie in a relief effort devised by King John. While troops led by William Marshall occupy the siegers from the landward side, supplies are to be snuck up to the castle from the Seine. If the plan doesn't work, our supplies will be gone within 2 weeks, and the castle shall fall soon after. The Outer Bailey already has been severely weakened. 6th of March 1204. It has become increasingly difficult to find the time to write in my journal. In fact, I am only writing now because this may be the last chance I get to do so. Despite a valiant effort, King John's relief effort failed. And right on the heels of this tragedy comes another. The Outer Bailey has fallen. There seems to be little we can do to stop Philip's forces. The few men that are still alive are already starving, and yet we will now have to cut back rationing to 1 cup of grain per man on every 3rd day. If we don't get relief soon, the castle is doomed. I've taken the precaution of sequestering everything of value in the hidden storage room as King John requested in his last letter to me, and destroying the keep. The letter itself has also had to be destroyed, as it contained information on the whereabouts of the hidden storage chamber. Well, that tells you... So this journal is actually important if you don't know what you're doing, because it tells you, A, there is a key, B, the blacksmith has a mold for it, C, the key has been destroyed, so you need to make a new one from the mold, and D, that there's a destroyed letter to look for. Unfortunately, that despite all the other stacks of books, that's the only one we can read. So, now we will proceed with our tour of the keep. And this is as far down as we can go. We can't go any further, so the storage room isn't there. And there's only one door.
Gage, that's the one! That's the one who messed with my sculpture!
Alright, evidence registered. So if we actually go to review, we can see presence, a second time traveler, inconsistent with TSA chronolog scanner reports. And they got the wrong date again. So Arthur's got some comments about here.
Looks like the supplies are pretty depleted.
Yes, we found that out from the message, Arthur. But they are pretty depleted. Presumably these barrels would have held the grain or whatnot. And unfortunately, we can't look up at the barrels. But I guess there would just be more barrels.
Wow, you look at those kegs. Probably not much left in them this far into the siege. What I'm trying to figure out is where do you put the tap?
Alright, so you can look around. It's not much to see, especially since they keep you from looking up and down, which I don't really get why. But, I mean, I guess there's not much to look at, but still. You cannot climb the ladder, which is fine because the ladder goes nowhere? In any event, this is the chest that the agent was standing over. And it's locked. However, despite using the same lockdown as the others, this one we can get into. So let's take out that copper key. And dive right in. Oh. Really? Okay. So you'll notice there's a bottom to that chest, which I thought... Oh, you know why? Because I saved and reloaded, that probably reset the status of the chamber. So basically now we're gonna do this the way the game wanted you to do it originally, which means going back up to the king's chamber and basically triggering that painting again. Fortunately, the game's not a dick and doesn't consume your key and have it like magically break or something upon using it on the lock. So you can see it was returned to our inventory, so we can just use it again. I've had games that have done that, where you could either screw yourself or you'd have to go back and remake whatever it was you made. And of course, since the agent jumped out, you won't see them again. But we can just go here. Now, let's pop in. Jumpsuit external light engaged. Hello. And we got some coins here, gold coins. Object analysis, gold coins. These are gold coins taken from the hidden storage room of Château Gaillard. The markings appear to be Arabic, which means these were probably plundered when King Richard was on the Crusades. Now you'll notice it's made of gold, which in theory should mean that you'd be able to melt this to make a key, but like I said earlier, it doesn't work. At least when I tried it. Okay, so we put the cover back on that. You can see it's not a huge room, but it's not tiny either. And you gotta love that music too. It's really triumphant. They were obviously very proud of this room and of the animation we're going to see. Alright, so let's move on because... Alright, that's just telling us there's a temporal anachronism detected within immediate vicinity. Use the evidence chip to locate.
That's an enamel-on-leather portrait of Richard and John's grandfather, Geoffrey Plantagenet, made in 1158. Nice likeness, huh? One of the few pieces still around in my time. Too bad. If you chip away the enamel and gold leaf, you can still see the numbers. Since life was so difficult in the Middle Ages, what with constant wars, plagues, and whatnot, people just didn't have time for art. The knowledge of the masters of past generations wasn't passed on and was eventually forgotten. That's why everything from this period of history was pretty crude compared to the ages before and after it. And very little of it has survived because it was mostly in the form of tapestries and book illuminations, most of which have perished.
They're actually clever there with that comment, because that kind of cues you in that you're looking in the direction you should be for the evidence. We'll look around a bit more, though, as we do have this fancy new position to look at things and all this artwork and gold and other treasures. But we only have the two positions in the room. So let's look around, and you can see it's this sword-shaped object.
There's no way that jewel was made by medieval hands. It's refracting light from your helmet in an almost perfectly mathematical pattern. It's flawless. I don't know what it is, but it definitely does not belong on that sword.
Source of Ripple documented mission complete. You may leave the time zone at your discretion. And we can check in our evidence review. Mathematical perfection of diamond's cut impossible for this time period. So what we can do, you can actually jump out with no repercussions, but because we are a nice person and we don't want to alter history, we're going to close the secret chest. I suppose I didn't check if Arthur had a comment, but I doubt I don't think he does. And we're going to head back up to the King's Chamber and reactivate the hidden floorboard. That way it won't be able to be pillaged by Philip Augustus, so it will not fund his war effort against the English, and it will remain buried there until it's discovered by whoever eventually discovers it. And with that, that's basically going to conclude this episode. We now have two pieces of critical evidence, and obviously all those objects we saw at the on sale at the Louvre auction were they all corresponded to these time zones, and so far 2 of the 4 items are the exact that have been altered are the ones that have been sold off. So we're starting to see a pattern here. We know there's an agent 3 or 6, I believe, if I remember correctly, is here. We got jumpsuit footage of them, and they are modifying these artifacts. We saw there were schematics in Arthur's sculpture, and we've got some sort of crafted diamond, which is reflecting the light in a mathematical pattern for undetermined reasons in this artifact. almost like they're trying to smuggle technology or stuff. And we also know from the news story that these were potentially bought up by an alien bidder. So there was an investigation into that, but what technology would a time travel agent try to smuggle to an alien representative? Well, there's the time travel talks going on about what to do with humanity's time travel technology. There is a faction for sharing the technology. There's a faction for dismantling it, and there's a faction for letting humanity retain sole control over it. So this would imply that the aliens are either in the share or dismantle. Share if they just want to spread it to everyone and they're just being nefarious, but ultimately well-intentioned, or destroy if they wanted to have secretly obtained the time travel technology and have sole ownership. Furthermore, we know that the security system in the temporal annex was compromised, and anyone could get into or out of the chambers or the warehouse that had time travel technology, which is probably what the agent did. Is they disabled the security system. Agent 5 caught it, but they disabled it to smuggle this technology out, to then smuggle into artifacts and be bought up by an alien bidder, so that way it couldn't be traced back. And then we are blamed for tampering when the ripples from the agent's actions are discovered here. Awfully convenient, as we were the ones who discovered the security shortage. So keep that all in mind. Those are all conclusions we can draw at this very moment. We don't have all the pieces of the puzzle yet. We don't know why this agent is smuggling time travel technology out, nor to who. Maybe they're doing it for greed. Maybe they're doing it based off of some principle. We don't know that. Likewise, we don't know which aliens want it or why they're purchasing it either. We do have data. We know they're in they vocalize within the 12 kilohertz range, but I believe there's a number of species that do that. So we will need more information to go on. But the pieces of the puzzle are starting to fall together. So with that will conclude today's episode, or this week's episode, really. Thank you all for watching, and stay tuned for next time, and stay safe out there, and we'll see you then.